Hi, folks. I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Thursday, 12th of June, 2025. So this video is attention to Israel only. So I'd like to say a warm hello to all the elders and the Chachamim of Israel. The reason that I'm doing this video is just to catch up with you with some important things. I guess there's a lot of news out there, um, saying that this Ilan Baba prophecy is going to happen within perhaps a very few short days. Amir Sarfati has said this morning on his YouTube channel on a video that perhaps this is going to happen within days. So we shall see. Um, and also heard other reports from CBN News on YouTube. I heard the American four-star CENTCOM general, uh, you know, saying to Congress, if you like, in America, that that he has given, the American authorities, shall we say, all the choices available. So now, having said this, it's going to be interesting to see how God, uh, if indeed He does, how He tells me uh, this to prophesy to you. God normally for the for those prophecies like begin now and do Sidon, they were pretty sharp. Uh, God, especially with the begin now prophecy, God with me, He was very short. Just telling to begin now. So sort of like very short and sweet, if you like. So looking forward to see how God says this to me. How actually God is going to get me to prophesy the Ilan Baba prophecy. So yeah, this is going to be quite interesting. Having said this, if God speaks to me and says to me, tell Israel to fulfill the Ilan Baba prophecy and so on, I am going to try to stop God and also ask Him when is He going to fulfill the prophecy about me. So I hope that I'm able to know God. When He gives you prophesying, He gives it to you, uh, how can I put it? He gives you the orders, if you like, but then, you know, it's very difficult to argue back, if you like, to sort of like engage with God, when He talks to you, He sort of like tells you what to do, and then that's it. He goes, and so I like to stop God this time and say, God, when are you going to fulfill your prophecy about me? Because I have asked you to fulfill your prophecy about me, and, uh, and I have asked God, of course, as you already know, Israel, to end my prophetic call. And so, when God comes to me, I'm just letting you know, just giving you a bit of a heads up that when God comes to me and says to me, okay, tell Israel to fulfill the Ilan Baba prophecy found in Jeremiah 49, in other words, that you take care of Iran's nuclear program. I'm going to see if at all possible, if I'm going to ask God, if He can tell me when He's going to fulfill also His prophecy about me. I'm not sure if God is going to tell me. Like I said, God gives you orders, and then He goes. So I don't know if this is going to be possible, if God tells me, of course, I will tell you. But I'm looking forward to going, and I want to go as soon as possible to serve God in heaven because, um, you know, God has a prophecy about me. He wants me to serve Him in heaven, and I think it's the right time to go. Now, if you're wondering, do I have any regrets on this? No, I have some regrets, but I'll tell you this in a moment. Um, you know, Within the last couple of weeks, things have been happening to me, and I have been saying to God, see, God, for this reason, this is why I want to go. This is why I want you to take me, for these reasons. So I have been, things are happening, in my life. I then use those things to point them out to God. You see, God, you see this? This is why I want to go. This is why I want you to take me because of this. So, and Now, I know that I'm making the right decision. I don't have any regrets having asked God to end my prophetic call. The only regrets that I have are actually in prophecies. In other words, that I would like to prophesy the inland prophecy. I would like to prophesy to you Israel Isaiah 17.1, Damascus being a heap of ruins, and also like to prophesy to you Israel to rebuild the third temple. I like those three. If I don't get them, it'll be, you know, I will regret it in my heart. It'll be, yeah, I'll regret it in my heart that I didn't get those. But nonetheless, God has given me a lot to prophesy, to decipher, and things like that. So, and having said this, I'm saying that I might regret, these three prophecies, Isaiah 17, Elam, and the third temple. But I don't know if God is actually going to give them to me either, So he might not, yeah, this is the plan. So, we'll see if you do this Elam Bible prophecy within the next few days, like Amir Sarfati has said, whether that's true or not, I don't know. Then, of course, I now need to pay attention to God speaking to me, to see how He's going to do this, what He's going to be saying to me. So I think it's going to be quite incredible, yeah, I hope that it's straightforward. I hope that God comes to me and say, tell Israel to fulfill the Elam Bible prophecy, nice and straight. And I think that's the best way for me to prophesy. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to see if I can stop God and ask Him, when He's going to take me out. But mind you, God has given me a prophecy a long time ago. He said to me, "Don't worry about the end times. I'm in full control of everything," And perhaps back then, even this was even before I became a prophet. And how interesting is that God gave me the prophecy, that don't worry about the end times. I'm in full control of everything. Maybe I shouldn't be worried about what's happening in my life now because God is in full control of everything. Nonetheless, reality hits harder than words. So, but of course, it's God saying this to me, I should have faith in Him. Uh, anyway, I just want to say that, perhaps, when God said that to me, I didn't realize it at the time when God gave me that prophecy, that not to worry about anything, that He's in full control of everything. Perhaps back then, I didn't know much about the Bible, but I should have realized and I should have thought to myself, if only I knew about the Bible and about the prophets, I could have engaged God back then to be a prophet. And then later, Jesus came to me, with a miracle to let me know that my mother is in heaven because I was mourning for her. And so I could have come to Jesus, and ask him to be a prophet. But yeah, lo and behold, back then, not having that knowledge of the Bible and the prophets, I didn't ask God, but it's incredible that God came to me. So I could have been God prophesied to me even before I was a prophet, and I could have used that opportunity to ask God to be a prophet back then, but I missed that chance. So that's incredible in itself. Now, another thing that I want to say to you, Israel, is of course, with this eclipse that we had recently in America during Purim, of course, that's a message for you, for America, that that God knows that America is the second home of the Jewish people, and that America has to help Israel to fulfill this Elam Bible prophecy. And so isn't that incredible how God is recognizing America prophetically? So America is actually part of Bible prophecy. But many people don't realize this. America is the second spiritual home of Israel. Now, of course, God has prophesied this to you already about the Elam. In other words, a type of hymen, if you like. And also, it's to do with, Isaiah 17.1, Damascus being a heap of ruins, because that's another type of hymen. Anyone that wants to, destroy Israel, they're a type of hymen, if you like. So, America, has the orders of God, if you like. Now, I don't know whether you realize this or not, Israel, but I have prophesied to you, it is rightful to fulfill the end times, speaking now, do see on, and so on. And I have prophesied those things to you. And so, the fact that God, has come, has prophesied with the celestial bodies, with this recent eclipse, in Purim, during Purim, in America, like I just said, uh, my prophecies came first, right? And then God did that, with the celestial bodies. So I want you to realize that, what came first, the chicken or the egg, So, yeah, don't forget that my prophecies were a precursor, to what God has prophesied with the celestial bodies, during Purim, with that blood moon eclipse, if you like, So I want you to realize this, anyway, just this stuff for you in the book of Revelation, chapter 17, about the seven kings, how the Antichrist is, during the first couple of the tribulation period, the first Antichrist or the man of sin, including himself and the Pope, you know, he will rule with seven kings, he will be one of them. And that's kind of like a revived Roman Empire, if you like, because it's talking about, the seven hills in Rome, so it's kind of like a revived Roman Empire in itself, if you like, And then, of course, the second Antichrist, or Leviathan, would then choose 10 kings to rule with him. And that's, of course, the revived Roman Empire. And, of course, the false prophet would deceive people to take the mark of the beast. Already done that deciphering for you. Now, I just want to say, when I did that video with us for biblical deciphering Psalm 76, the false prophet, the revived Roman Empire, and so on, God gave me all that information. Psalm 76, I mainly did it on my own with a little bit of help with the Holy Spirit, but those other three biblical decipherings, that was all the Holy Spirit. So I just wanted to let you know that. And I'm just in the process now of deciphering Psalm 74. I'm a third of the way. I'm doing it verse by verse, and I might do Psalm 75 afterwards. We'll see. Depends on how God leads me, but I just want you to let you know that in um, Psalm 74, verse 7, okay? In Psalm 74, verse 7, there is a prophecy there which talks about burning of the sanctuary. In other words, that according to my study that I'm doing right now, that the Antichrist is actually going to burn, the third temple when he causes the abomination of desolation. And then on verse 8, he goes on to say that all the synagogues are gonna be, burned down. And I think this is gonna happen. When the abomination of desolation happens, it's gonna, be destroying. The third temple is gonna, burn it like it says there. And so that's interesting. It's interesting, I guess, for the third temple, authorities. I don't know what they know about Bible prophecy. But if they're under the law, you know, they're probably not going to understand this, but Psalm verse 34, verse 7 is interesting how it says that the third temple is going to be burned. And on verse 8, it says how all the synagogues are going to be burned down. That's quite something, And then on verse 9, I got my Bible here, it says, we are not, um, it says here, we see not our signs. There is no more any prophet. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. So Isaac is saying here, we don't have a prophet. But you see, I'm a mystery here because no, I come here with the mystery of the Archangel Gabriel, and who could have known that? Not even Paul the Apostle, who was giving a lot of mysteries. Among among the mysteries that he got was, of course, the rapture of the church. The most important thing, and of course, the gospel as well. two very important things. But Paul the Apostle was not given my mystery. That in the last days there was going to be a prophet like me with the mission of the Archangel Gabriel, and who could have known that? And here Isaiah is saying here in Psalm 74 verse 9, we have no prophet. I think he's talking about no prophet for the second half of the tribulation period. In the first half, of course, they're going to have Moses and Elijah, but I already risen up a prophet for you for the second half of the tribulation period, and there in itself is another mystery. So not only is my mission like the Archangel Gabriel a mystery, but the fact that I have risen up a prophet for you, that's another mystery. So there you go. So yeah, Isaiah, he was an amazing prophet, and I decipher many of the Psalms, and between Isaiah and King David, with the Psalms of King David, these two were just incredible prophets. I don't know who is the most amazing of the two. They are both, I think, equally amazing with what they have prophesied with the Psalms. Incredible, incredible stuff. So yeah, I'm sort of like deciphering this right now. Psalm 74. So I just wanted to raise this mystery with you. Elders of Israel, the fact that I have risen up a prophet for you for the second half of the tribulation period. So yeah, I'm just parked here on the side of the road, and someone is just leaving. So yeah, I'm doing this in my car. So I'm not doing it outside because it's a little bit cold. We are in winter now, and also it's a little bit windy, and there isn't an appropriate place to do this video around here because in the park where I'm parked now, there's a bit of a construction zone, and it's just not the right place to be seen in some way. Normally I sort of do it in a park somewhere. I tried to do this video earlier, but when I tried to do it earlier, then there were people around walking around with dogs, creating havoc and things like that. So I'm doing this in my car now. So um, so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Lots of Israel. Um, you know, uh, I have to be, watchful as to how God is going to allow me to prophesy this Ilan Bible prophecy. It'll be interesting to see what God says to me. If He does, I don't know if God is going to allow me to prophesy this. This is, of course, all up to the will of God. I have been praying for this for a long time to get this, because I want it in my bag of prophecies. I have a huge bag full of amazing prophetic stuff already, things that I already have achieved and that I'm very proud of. But of course, all this is up to the will of God, and I would like really to get the third temple. I don't know if I'm gonna be around for that. So, given that I have already said to God to take me out and to end my prophetic call, the third temple is a little while away. First, we gotta have the Secret War, and things like that. So, I might not get that, but at least I got the fourth temple. But at least in a way, I prophesied to you is that you need to trigger the rapture of the church as the third temple anyway. So, at least that's something. And God has already prophesied to you with the celestials that you need to fulfill this Elam and also Isaiah 17, and because, anyone who comes against Israel is sort of like Hyman, these nations, and of course next year in Purim, there's another eclipse expected, and I'm pretty sure that's probably the Secret War of 38, 39, the other type of Hyman, of course, this coalition that's coming. So I guess God has done the work already. So if God takes me out, at least I'm happy that God has prophesied this with the celestial bodies, and that God has given me a lot, and I'm grateful, and you know, and that I have no regrets in saying to God to take me out. And the only regrets are really prophecies that I would like to prophesy, but I don't know if God will give them to me. But mind you, God has recently, prophesied to you, to get on to, Elam and Isaiah 17. So, um, so yeah, that is that. uh, I think to me the most exciting thing right now is this Elam Bible prophecy. If you Israel and America get together and do this, I'm just wondering what is God going to say to me, because I'm a prophet. I've already prophesied a lot of things, and this is one of the biggies. This is one of the biggest Bible prophecies of all time. The Elam Bible prophecy. And yeah, I wonder what God is going to say. And like I said, I'm gonna see if I can ask God to tell me when He's going to take me out. But, if God says something, I must say, God, well, how are you gonna do this as well? But that will be a little extra if God engages with me, because God tells me and He gives me the orders and I have to prophesy, but I have never been able to stop God, to have a little chat with Him. So yeah, I hope that He does, um, I hope that because God watches me when I do these videos, and so why I'm also using you, Israel, as my witnesses, because God is hearing me saying this, and that's so I'm also using you, Israel, as a heads up for God, so that God, will be prepared for me. When I say God, when you're gonna take me, of course I will prophesy to Israel, if God gives me Elam and so on, and if at all possible, how, if I can, get it from God, like it's not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna try, and I'm using you, elders of Israel, here as my witnesses because God watches me every time I do videos for you, so it's like this, So, it's interesting, this is all interesting. We really are living in prophetic times, and this is incredible. This is all incredible, like the fact that I have made biblical history, that one day there's gonna be a book about me in the Bible, and with all my prophecies and things like that, So yeah, I think this is amazing, but nonetheless you gotta remain humble, and you rejoice with trembling, like it says in Psalm 2, And yeah, it's like this, it's an amazing journey, it's quite scary, it's scary too, the power of God, it's something else, it's something to be feared, and you never get over it, you never get over fearing God, as a prophet, you never get used to it and you never get over it. You're constantly fearing God, you're probably thinking, do you get used to this? No, you don't, because you're constantly living with that fear of God, that trembling, like and whenever you get something from God, it's amazing, and I'm just wondering what is God going to say to me, so that you can fulfill Elam, how is God going to do this, and yeah, and at what time He's gonna come, to say this to me, at what time. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to be ready, I'm gonna have to be ready, and so yeah, yeah, this is quite something. This is quite incredible. So yeah, so that's it, elders of Israel. My spiritual antenna now, is gonna be connected to God, a little bit more now, more in tune to God, with expecting God, I hope anyway that He will allow me to prophesy this, this is gonna be quite something, Um, I believe, from my prophetic experience, I believe that if God gives me this Elam, it's probably going to be, I would say, with everything that I prophesied so far, this is going to be quite an incredible step up, a step up, and only God and I understand this. It's going to be quite an incredible step up for the two of us. And yeah, it's gonna be quite a, you know, quite an incredible step up, for God and I, especially how God says this to me, how God is going to get me to prophesy this Elam, That's why I really wanna prophesy this, because I think that if God gives me this Elam Baba prophecy to prophesy to you, Israel, it's gonna be a big step up. This is gonna be huge. It's gonna be, well, a big one in terms of how God and I have dealt with each other in the past. With prophesying. This is going to be one amazing step up. In my relationship with God, as a prophet. This is going to, and only God and I understand this. So this is going to be, an amazing step up. And I actually need this. I need for God to allow me to prophesy this. Uh, I need for God to allow me to prophesy this. Uh, and to take me to the next stage. So I really need these two. So. Um, this will cement me, as one of the greatest prophets of all time, So yeah, I really need this one, So humbly, I hope that God will allow me to prophesy this, because I really need it. I think God knows that I need it, and this is going to be, a big step up, for the two of us. I know that. So yeah, so we'll see how, what God does in terms of this. It's gonna be quite something. So that's it, elders of Israel. God bless you all. I'm gonna be doing perhaps another video on Sunday, because on Sunday will have been the 2 weeks. Since I did my last video, in which I gave you Israel 2 weeks to make up your minds. If you wanted me to bring me over to America and so on. Of course, you have your reasons. You're not going to do that. That's okay. But I want the name of God. Within a few days, he takes me out. Perhaps he'll give me Elam. And then takes me out after that. So we shall see. I hope so anyway. And yeah, we shall see. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. All right, all that's all. Thank you for watching. I'll see if I can do another video on Sunday, and God willing, hopefully I can finish off this Psalm 74 by tomorrow afternoon. If I do, I'm gonna go to a library tomorrow and try and finish it off. I already got a third done. I'm doing verse by verse. I think there's 23 verses all up. Already done up to 7. So and after this, I think I might do Psalm 75, which is quite short. But if not, we'll see what God gives. So yeah, so it's like this. And if I finish deciphering Psalm 74 tomorrow, then I'll do a video Saturday morning Australian time, and I'll put that through on my channel. So yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to give you this heads up. That's of Israel, and just to let you know that yeah, I'm fully aware that this Ilan prophecy could come within days. And yeah, I have to be ready, of course, as a prophet. And yeah, I think that God knows, God and I know that I need to prophesy this. If it's according to the will of God, this is going to be another step up. I'm telling you, Israel, this is going to be a step up for God and I. Uh, you know, with the relationship that God and I have with each other in terms of how I prophesy, this is going to be a step up. And God and I, we both know that I need this to prophesy. I need to hear God, to get me to prophesy. This is going to be a huge one. And I really need this one, because I'm a prophet for the big things, and I'm really in the mood for a big one, for another big one, so another solid one, like, fulfill the end time, speaking now and do sit on. So I really need this big one, so and I think that God and I know, we both know that I need to do this. Let's just put it that way. So because I know my history of how God has got me to prophesy, and I know that this will be a step up. So yeah, this is gonna be one of the big ones. All right, thank you, Elder Israel. Sorry for repeating myself because sometimes I get a little bit of emotional, and I'm trying to sort of like give you the message, what I think, and how God is using me. I'm trying to pass on to you, the message, the knowledge. So that's why I repeat myself a little bit. I'm trying to get you to understand. So. But anyway, it's like this. All right, thank you, Elder Israel. God bless you all, and I will do a video very soon. Amen.